Hey everyone, it's Marianne from New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. I have the audio from the MLC meeting that I wanted to share, as it has been up on NYC for Yourself's website, on their YouTube channel, and it's not getting a lot of play. So if you would go over to NYC for Yourself, FOR Yourself, NYC for Yourself. And this is Amy's channel. She's like a live, she does like live feeds from events, like on the street, in the moment. She records meetings and events and happenings, and so that you could be there for yourself and see what she sees, especially if you can't be at an event or a rally or a meeting. So she happened to ask me to do an interview with her after being given an audio of the MLC meeting on September 8th, where the unions in the MLC voted to change the code in which we are all protected. And when I say all, I mean every employee, retiree, and their dependents. And so there's just a few points that I wanted to bring out on this, but I do urge you, it's on her page in two places. It is just the audio of the meeting so that you can hear just the meeting. And then she and I, we played it and then we talked about it. So to explain for people that need an understanding. So the original audio is about an hour and 20 minutes, I believe. And then our video actually was like a Zoom call, and that was like almost 3 hours. So, I mean, if you're sitting in traffic, it might be something good to listen to, because it really will educate you as to what is happening, who the players are, what's being said, why it's being said, what unions they represent, and what happened. And it's really important because you're like a fly on the wall in this, and it's really kind of interesting to see why it is that some of your unions are not being transparent with you and sharing what's going on, and making decisions without including you, as they are required, depending if you're AFSCME or AFL-CIO, your governing documents, that they are supposed to be making you aware as a union member of all of these happenings with that affect your wages, hours, and work conditions, collective bargaining, contracts, etc. If you don't know the rules, you don't know the law, you don't know you don't know, how are you going to know that you're being taken advantage of, or you're not being told the truth? And in this situation, too many officers have advised us that they were not informed, that this wasn't brought to their attention, or that they were misled by the people that they trusted. So I want to just go through some of this with you. I'm going to share my screen and share her channel with you. This is her channel. And okay, so I would say probably, in my opinion, the two most egregious parts in this video is hearing the attorney for the MLC talk about the city eating the debt that it owes, but I'm sorry, that the unions owe the city, and they owe $600 million to $1 billion to the city. But the city would be willing to eat the debt if they change the code that protects all of us. And why is that? And since most of you guys are only on the job about 6 years or 8 years, you don't really know that there's a man named Robert Lynn, who used to be the Labor Relations Commissioner, who absolutely hates this code because he feels it takes away his ability to save the city money and impose all these costs and fees on employees and retirees. And he figured he could save the money. It will probably be the last thing he wanted to do, because he's been around forever, going back to before the Koch administration. And under Koch, he was actually in labor relations, where he just got a real thrill every time he could screw a union. And if you'd like to see some of those memos, let me know. So I'm going to play these two parts for you, and knowing a little bit of the background why they're trying to kill this is Robert Lynn's puppy. And if you didn't know that, Robert gets paid, he retired from city service. He gets paid $500 an hour now as a consultant to the city. No kidding. So the first part I'm going to go to is at about 14 minutes and 24 seconds, I believe. Let's go here.
And MLC can do better than that. So thank you. And James, just legally, just to be clear from tripartite, this actually is one part of the overall package. Having an RFP issued for the actions plan, which we will get to subsequently, is part also. Nobody is saying that this is the only thing. This is sort of part of what Simon has said. This is the path forward in order for the city to eat the $1 billion that will be owed by the end of this year. So what PSC is saying is that other things should be looked at as well. That is going to happen.
So what did he say there? He basically said, this is what you have to do in order for the city to eat the $1 billion it's owed. And don't worry, James, we're not just going to change the code. We're going to do this RFP, which just was published yesterday, to replace the employee plan, which is your plan. You see how this is starting to come true? And this was September 8th. And so you are aware, at the end of this meeting, so you really should go back and listen to this audio. At the end of this meeting, they actually vote on doing just that. And it is a chaotic vote. It's not even an organized roll call vote. You really need to listen to this. The second part where he talks about the city eating the debt and in order for the unions not to have to pay the city back, goes to 46 minutes and 24 seconds. So let's go there.
The other one is Tom Cazzo. What happens if the MLC votes to pass the amendment of the administrative code and doesn't pass in the 2 hearing dates? What happens then? Will we still be in the same position? What will happen if the majority votes no? What is plan B? And that's the end of it.
If the majority votes no, then Simon will probably start to act as the chair of tripartite and order something, because he recognizes the city is out $600 million to $1 billion, depending upon when you call the question.
So right there, he admits, and this is again, Alan Klinger, the attorney for the MLC, the UFT, and sanitation, that if the city council votes this bill down to change the law, okay, the one that's been protecting us since 1967, that in that case, the arbitrator, as per the agreement, the 2014 and 18 agreement, the arbitrator would have to chair the tripartite committee and decide something, because he recognizes that the city is out $600 million to $1 billion up until you call the question. And then the next part of this, they actually call the question. Do you want to, go ahead and change the code? Because if they vote to change the code, the clock stops. They called the question. Okay. Very important to understand why this is happening. It's because they all know, and I keep saying this, and you'll hear, this just drives me crazy. You'll hear Michael Mulgrew always say, well, the MLC, this, dude, you are the MLC. You have a controlling vote in the MLC. So the next part I also want to bring you to is 22 minutes and 8 seconds. And in this part, you will hear misrepresentation of the judge's decision.
The current administrative code has that we're not changing that for the actives. This would be changed for the retirees with a plan that basically, where the healthcare people tell us there is data which they have, but there's that campaign from the retiree group. But this amendment by itself changes nothing for the actives. It just gives an opportunity, as Michael said, for the MLC to have more control over what's going on.
And we'll be able to keep the fixed senior care, which under the judge's ruling is in jeopardy.
Correct. The city wants us to jettison it because the judge didn't say you have to keep senior care. Judge said, the city has to offer one plan.
He didn't say that.
That meets the criteria, and if the city doesn't want to offer senior care, it doesn't have to. This is what we're accomplishing here with the service. And again, Michael and others are right. There is no agreement to go to Aetna. It's being explored. Aetna has said that if they get the contract, they will allow people to choose senior care or get them under the exact same terms that was.
I thought the law doesn't say that. I mean, if this will give the MLC and the city, they can peg any plan at any time.
Yes, but if the MLC has that option, but nothing changes. The MLC would have to decide to change from the HMO as the basis for the action. The amendment doesn't change that itself. It gives the right to the MLC.
I thought the judge said it was against that.
That's the whole point of the amendment is to restore, as Michael, the whole point of this was to restore the ability of the MLC to decide what it believes is appropriate. And I know a lot of the people who were part of the original negotiation did not want to see senior.
So what this does is it actually takes out of your and my hands the ability to choose which plan I want. Today, an active employee, non-Medicare eligible, has 11 plans. A Medicare eligible employee has 14. I don't know why Mulgrew says it's only 8. It's not. If you look at the SPD, it's 11 and 14. But he wants to be able to choose what plan you get for free and which plan you don't. Why? Because he wants to be able to take the value out of negotiating that away and use it for something else. Thereby what? Setting yet another bad example or pattern where he's okay to strip away a benefit that's been earned, that if you give this away, you will never get it back. And this is why we keep telling you, do not give this away. This cap allows the city to pay, it actually says the city will pay the full cost of health insurance up to the HIP HMO cap for every employee, retiree, and their dependent. So no matter what that rate is, the city has to pay up to it. Today it is $925. In 1997, they were trying to get employees, or actually retirees, out of one of the other HIP Medicare plans. And they wouldn't leave because they were loyal to the HIP plan. So what did they do? The city told HIP to kill the plan. This is the manipulation that's going on behind your back and mine. This shouldn't be happening. There needs to be more transparency. You guys need to ask more questions because this will happen again. Because the city can't just jettison, as Mr. Klinger says, senior care. It has to be at the agreement of the MLC because of the 1992 health agreement that requires the city to negotiate all aspects of healthcare with the MLC. And yet because the MLC keeps things close to the chest and they don't share these documents or share the negotiations with the union leaders is why you, the members, don't know about it. You need to push back. They give this up, you will never get this back. Oh, and you should go check your mailboxes. Because I bet today you got a letter from Emblem Health saying that your costs have gone up, that your networks for radiology and urgent cares have been reduced to specific companies. Don't believe me? It's a give back. Do you know when that was approved? In this meeting. Your union presidents, most of them, not all of them, voted to do this. Understand? Please protect yourself. You give this up, you will never get this back. And then you will have forever on your shoulders and future generations, you will have to deal with copays and premiums. Trust me on this one. This is why this language is not in any collective bargaining agreement. It's because you had this statute. I'm not going to go into the rest of this audio, but go back in and check at 18 minutes and 33 seconds. 40 minutes and 5 seconds, you'll hear Henry Garrido, Michael Mulgrew basically gaslighting and lying to everybody that's in that meeting, all the union presidents. Please, guys, wake up, pay attention. look into this, fact check the hell out of it. And unfortunately, you're going to find out. I'm telling you the truth. And I'm sorry to tell you that. Please do your homework. Our futures all depend on it. You might get a 3% raise tomorrow, but you're going to give the city 6 or 8% right after it.